Hello everyone. So in this video, we'll discuss about the business rule in the Dynamics 365. We will see what are the operations can be performed with the business rule and what are the scopes of the business rule, and also we'll discuss about what are the limitations with the business rule in the Dynamics 365. Along with that, in the last, I will show you demo between the business rule and the JavaScript and which will be executed first. So let's proceed. So business rules are used to minimize the complex code in the Dynamics. The logic with the business rule can be applied without writing the JavaScript or the plugin. So business rules are very easy to configure in the Dynamics. Even the non-programmer can configure through the simple UI design in the Dynamics. The business rule was introduced from the CRM 2013 onwards. So then what are the actions can be performed on the business rule? So when you configure the business rule, you will have the two things. One is condition and then you will have the actions. So you'll give the conditions. For the conditions, you will have the true or false, like if and else. And for those conditions, you will perform set of actions. And these are the actions you can perform here. And the actions are like you can set the field value or you can clear the field value. Then you can make the field label as required or the business recommended, and also you can validate the data, and based on the data validations you can show the error message. Also, if you want to hide and show the field, you can do that. And if you want to enable a disable, means if you want to lock and unlock the field, you can do that using the business rule. Now coming to the scope. So in the business rule, we have basically two scopes: entity label and the all forms. So when it is entity label, then it execute at the server side, and so the business rule fire whenever the entity is created or saved, either from the CRM or using the some web applications, like using the service call or you are using the web API to create the record. That at that time the entity level business rule will be fired. But in case of all form, it is client side executed, so it will execute at the client side. So business will be fired only when you are loading the forms or you're updating the form. So this is pretty simple. So like when you are interacting with the form, that time only the business will be executed, and for the type of all forms. There are other scope also, like based on the like which forms you want to set the scope. We'll see that when you configure. When I open the business rule, I'll show you. We'll see that in details. Okay. Now, what are the limitations with the business rule? So, as business rules are not as flexible as the JavaScript, so definitely there are some limitations with that. I will try to cover as much I can, but still, if there's some missing, you can let me know in the comment box. Okay, so the limitations are like the the business rules are not executed when you do the bulk edit or import, like when you are importing the records and you have created the business rule on the some field, and that field is included in your import file, then your business will not be executed. Okay, and if you are doing the bulk edit through the the XML toolbox or using the advanced find, then still your business will not be executed with that. Now, the business rule can't interact the tabs and the sections. Yes, as we see here before, so you can hide and show the fields, but you cannot hide and show the tabs and sections. So that is another bigger limitations, I believe, with the business, because most of the for these simple scenarios we have to write the JavaScript, and so I think Microsoft should work on that, and they should set that tabs and sections here, so that will be more more effective or more useful here. So that is one limitations. You can't make the tab or sections hide and show on that. You can't interact with the any tab and sections with the business rule. Now the business rule can't call JavaScript. Yes, so like if you want to call any JavaScript from the business rule, that is not possible. Okay, now the it acts on the fields of the local entities, like when you configure the business rule for the specific entity, then what are the entities are what are the fields are available for that particular entity. You can manipulate the data with that. You cannot interact with the related entities data. So that is the major drawback, I will say, because sometimes based on the some conditions of the one entity, you want to set the field to the another entity. That is not possible. So business rule will interact only for the local entities, for the single entities where you are going to configure the business rule. Now it can it cannot be debugged. Like the JavaScript, we can find where it has been failed, and we can break we can do the debugging of the JavaScript, but you can't debug the business rule. Okay, and when you configure the business rule, then as I mentioned, you will have the action conditions and the actions, like if and else a statement. So those conditions you can configure up to 10. So if you are having lot of conditions in your design, or the requirement, then the business rule is not recommended for that. Then you should go for the JavaScript, and you should use the switcher statement for that. So that is another limitation. So it has maximum 10 if it's a statement limitations. You can configure more than that. Now the business rules are executed in the order they are activated. Yeah, so this point is important. Sometimes when you have configured multiple business rule for the one entity, and you will see that the logic is behaving irregular. That in that case, you should see the execution order of the business unit, and like when it was activated. So the order of execution of the business rule for the for the entity you have multiple business rule, then the order is as per they are activated. So that is one typical point you should understand for the business rule. Now the business rule as having the limited actions. As I mentioned, these are the some basic set of actions it can be performed. It cannot call the OData query like how we do. It cannot perform as flexible as the JavaScript. So that is it is have very limited set of actions to perform, unlike the JavaScript. So that is one limitation. Now there could be other limitations also. I believe so, you can let me know. But one thing is the execution order of the business rule, how it is in the dynamics. So like in when any business rule when you configure, so it will be converted back into the JavaScript in the dynamics. So it's not visual to us, but in the back end it will be converted into the JavaScript. So the execution order of the script inside the dynamics are as below. So it will be like first system JavaScript will be executed, the JavaScript which will come with the out of the box, with the dynamics, that one. Then in the custom script, if you have added any using the some extra additional library, then it will be executed, and then the business rule will be executed. I believe this order is for the on change of the field. So when you configure the business rule or JavaScript for the on particular change of the field, then your custom JavaScript will be executed first, and then the business will be executed. But in the case of onload, when you're loading the particular record into the dynamics, in that case your business rule will be executed first, and then the custom JavaScript. I'll show you the demo of that. So I have logged into the Dynamics, and for the student entity, I'm going to configure the new business rule. So you can go to your from your setting area, you can go to your solution, go to the particular entity, you can go to the your business rule, and you can configure the new business rule from here. So already I have created one simple business rule. I'll discuss that one. You can configure the business rule from the form editor. You can go to the student here form, and then from there you can configure the business rule. You can see the business rule option there, and you can configure from there. So when you configure the business rule, when you click the new, then you will see the this simple UI. Here you can give the name of the business rule, and here in the right side we have some validate the business rule. Like if when you configure the business rule, if you have some error, you can validate that. You can save, and you can save with a different name. Also you have to activate the business rule to make this active, to make this run in the dynamic. So the business rule has to be activated. And now here is the scope. So as I mentioned, we have two scope, entity and the all form. So when you set the all form, then it will be executed for the client side, and it will be executed for when you load the form, or when you update the form, right? But in the case of entity, it will be executed for the server side and the client side also. And when you are creating the record, then it will be executed for the some like from the web API calls or service call. When you're creating the record, that time your the business logic for the business rule will be executed when you have set this entity. So there you will find the other scope also. that will depend the how many forms you have on the entity. If you have other forms, like I have only the information form on my student entity, that is why I'm seeing here only that form. If you have any other form, you can see that. So you can limit your business rule for the particular form also. Like if you don't want that business rule to be fired for the another form, then this option is this option you can use that for that. So I think now it is clear to you the scope of scope feature of the business rule, right? Now here this is the design part, and here you will be adding the conditions, and then for the conditions you will be setting the actions to be performed. So you can use this add here, and you can see you can add the condition, and then these are the actions you can perform. Like you can make the recommendations, you can enable disable the field, you can show the error, then you can set the value to the fields, you can set the default value, and also you can make the business required, and you can set the visibility, means hide and show of the field. So I have taken the simple scenario here. On the student entity, I have field. You can see when you I'll show you here. Let me click here. So you can see for the student entity, I have field called title, and when it is equal to Mr., then I'm going to set the gender field. The gender I'm going to set as male, and I'm going to set the if it is other than Mr., then I'm going to set this as a female. Along with that, I'm going to set the another text field, that is I'm using the address line 2 here. If you'll go to the student, I'll open the new record. So you can see this is the one text field. I'm going to use this field to set some text just for the demo. It is not the real time scenario. Just for the demo, I'm going to set this text field here, just to validate you for the JavaScript how it works, how which will load first for that purpose. Okay, so you can set that. You can set the any value here, if it is whether it is your option set or the boolean type field or the text field. You can set that, but you cannot set the value for the lookup, because lookup will use for the related entities, and we cannot interact with the related entities here with the business rule. So that is a limitation. So you cannot set the value for the lookup field, so you should know that. So I'm setting the text value here. So like that, for the if it is male, then I'm setting the male. If it is a female, then I'm setting the text field as a female. So this is pretty simple business rule. I'm going to activate it. I'm going to make this active to make this run on the change of the my field called title on the student entity. So I'm going to activate this. Since I have set the scope as a all form, so it will be loaded, it will be executed when I'm going to interact with this field, or when I'm going to unload the form, a student form in the dynamics. Okay, so to this being activated, I'm going to discuss about the JavaScript which I have written here. So let me activate this first. Okay, so it's been activated. Okay, so now let's discuss about the JavaScript, which I'll show you with the demo. So this is the simple JavaScript. This is a script I have written, and I have put this function here, and this function I'm calling on the load of the student form and on the change of the title field. So let me show you that configuration. So here this is the library, this library, and inside this library I have added, let me edit this. You can see this script, this function, my on change title function, and the same function is over here. So this function I have registered onto the title on change here, you can see, and another is on the form on the onload event. Okay, so two places I have registered this form because I want to show you the demo based on the change of the field and onload of that. So which will execute first, business rule or the JavaScript for that. Okay, so inside that field, okay, inside the JavaScript here, so I'm doing the reverse. So in the business rule, I'm setting the gender as per the title. So if it is Mr., then I'm going to set this male, otherwise female. But in JavaScript, this is just for the demo. In the JavaScript, when it is equal to title as equal value is equals to Mr., then I'm going to set this female value. This is the option set value for the female gender option, and this is the for the male. I'm going to set that. Along with that, I'm going to alert what value it is going to set. So this is already I have put that code, and I have activated here onto this. So this is already registered. So I wanted to know the logic what I'm going to do. So don't get confused here. I'm setting this based on the title. If it is Mr., I'm going to set the gender as a female. When it is equals to the other value apart from Mr., then I'm going to set the female value. So this is the reverse operation of the business rule, what it is doing. Okay. So now let's check that. So first of all, let's check for the new field. So I'll go to the student. Let me reload this. So since I have activated, so I'll reload this student form here. Okay, so it's being loaded. Now I'm going to click the new, and let's check on change of this first. We'll verify the on change of this. So as I mentioned before, between the execution order, when it is on change, then your custom logic, custom JavaScript logic will be executed first, then the business rule. So let's see that. So I'm going to change this. So I'm going to set the Mr., and you can see the my business rule is sorry, JavaScript is executed, and so this will set the value based on the, you can see here when it is Mr., then I'm setting the female here, right? From the code here, if you see when it is equal to Mr., I'm setting the female, and this alert I have got, so it will set the female value to the gender field here below. Okay, so but after that my business rule will be executed. So first JavaScript is executed, and after that when you click OK, now business rule has executed, and now it has set the value to male. So this value is being set from the business rule. I think now it is clear, right? So now you can see this value is set from the business rule, and before that we got the pop-up, and that was coming from the JavaScript. So if you change the other field, you can see now male value is being set. This is being executed from the JavaScript, and once I'll click OK, now after that my business rule will be fired. So now it will set that to female. So the last value is being updated from the business rule, but the execution between the business rule and the JavaScript, custom JavaScript will execute first, and then the business rule. So now this point is clear to you, right? Now coming to the onload event. So already have one record here. I'm going to open that, and we'll see the what is loading first. So you can see this time uh, the we got the pop-up alert here for the female, because we don't have we can't see. So let me do first, let me okay that, and let me reload this one more time. So you can see as per the uh, logic. So in the last, which will be executed as per the onload. So in the last, the our custom JavaScript will be executed, and on the first it will run the business rule. To verify that, I'm going to reload one more time. Okay, I'm going to refresh this. You can see this the title is Mr. So when the business rule when which is being executed last, so JavaScript is being executed last, and it is this value is being set as a this value will be set based on the last values. Okay, so let's see that. So I'll reload this. Okay, so you can see this alert is coming from here, from this Mr. here, this, since this is the male here, so it's coming here. And now when I click OK, for the fraction of a second you will see some value will be here, right? You can see this value is being changed to the female. This is being done from the JavaScript, because first the first value has been loaded by the business rule. It was set to male, but after that this value has been changed to the female by the JavaScript. So here it is clear, right? So when you reload this, the first value it will be set by the business rule as a female here, and later on the JavaScript has been loaded, and that has changed the value to female. So on the case of load event, the your business rule will execute first, and later on JavaScript. So you can see for fraction second this value is still male, and after that the female value is loaded from the when JavaScript is loaded. So I think now this point is clear, and now you have understood the difference between the JavaScript and the business rule, and what are the limitations we have. And I'm sure when you are going for the interview, definitely you will get questions with the business rule and what are the limitations with that. So I hope it is clear to you, and thank you for watching this video, guys.